I'm sorry to bother you. Do you happen to know the way to Queer and Pleasant Strangers?
Well, I mean, apart from me.
Oh,
The podcast,
yeah. Do you know which way it is? I know it's somewhere around here,
Yeah,
but I've just lost the directions.
You're not far. You just head down there, and then you just see there on the left. You turn left there. You'll see things we've seen.
Oh yeah,
and then you just keep on down there until you go straight past things we've watched, things we've listened to, and then take a right onto skits.
Oh goodness! And along the way, should I see like silly voices right along there? I'm guessing.
Yeah, the silly voices along there, and then there's a couple of queer trans ladies right at the end.
Oh, wonderful! Thank you so much.
Greetings, strangers, queer and pleasant. I'm not Laura K. Dale.
And I'm not Jane Aerith Magnet, and welcome to another episode of Queer and Pleasant Strangers, that podcast where a couple of queer trans ladies talk about our weeks, have a bit of a giggle, that sort of thing.
That's us. That's what we do.
That's us, isn't it? How you been? How you been this week?
Busy. I had a week off, and yet somehow I feel like I got piss all done.
Yeah, it's felt like one of those weeks, hasn't it?
It really has.
I know I got a lot of stuff done, but I'm also feeling like weirdly, like the week flew away from me.
Well, you literally flew away from me. You went to Germany.
Yeah. I was in Germany this week, and I think we had a 4-day bank holiday weekend. Mm-hmm. I barely got back to work, and then I flew to Germany. My brain was very confused about where and when it was.
When is my brain?
Yeah, when is brain?
When
I kept, like, by Friday I thought it was Sunday, and I thought I was going to have to go back to work the next day, and I still had 2 days off to go.
Yeah. Oh, well, yeah, because Saturday you came back from the Germany.
Yeah, and then I had Sunday and Monday off.
Yes.
But I kind of worked Monday. It was a confusing weekend.
It was.
Yeah.
I was back to work on Monday, doing my work thing.
You had a long week off.
I did. I took a whole week off to try and hang out and do some stuff. And all I really did was edit a couple of podcasts. And go, you're not home. I'm doing this.
That's sort of how life do, isn't it? When you take time off and then go, I'm alone and I'm just going to edit some podcasts. Yeah, that's how we do.
That's how we do.
Yeah, it's been a nice week though. I've had a good one.
The weather's been lovely.
Oh yeah,
I've seen the sun.
The first day I was in Germany, I didn't have any work to do, and the weather was lovely.
It was 21 degrees, I believe.
It was, I think it was about 27 where we were in Berlin. Clear blue skies. It was lovely.
Lovely.
I got myself an ice cream, sat in the sun.
You tried some of those vegan McNuggets.
Yeah, I had some vegan nuggets. I had a good old time.
So were they chickeny textured?
They definitely were quite chickeny. Yeah. Should we talk about some of the things we've done this week?
Let's talk about some of the things we've played this week.
Yeah. Where should we start?
I think you should probably start with something that you did in Germany.
So, I went to Berlin in Germany for the Pokemon European Championships 2019, and I guess like half of this I'm going to put into played and half of it I'm going to put into watched, because I watched a lot of professional Pokemon play, but I also played a lot of Pokemon.
Oh.
So, what Pokemon did I play while I was away? So I got to take part in some like mini side tournaments that were going on at the championships.
Mm-hmm.
And I must say, like, I want to do a little overview of this before going into the specifics. It was really not a bad setup they had for, like, if you were going to that event as a spectator, there was a lot to do at a very reasonable price. So I think it was about a tenner, I think, for an adult to come in to spectate at the event, and if a child went in, they got an adult free with them.
Oh.
And most of the side event tournament things that were going on were paid events, but even if you completely lost and made it nowhere in the tournament, you would at the very least make back the value of what you'd spent to enter the tournament in, like, you'd get that value in booster packs for the card game.
Oh, cool.
So that was a really nice thing in that all of the tournaments at least gave you, they ranged in price from about £5 to £20. but every one of them was like, you get at least that value in booster packs. So it's essentially like you just bought some booster packs and also got to take part in a tournament and maybe win more than that as well.
And you also entered the tournaments.
Yeah, I entered some tournaments. So I took part in a build and battle tournament, which is basically you get a box that's got maybe 4 booster packs and then a pre-made assortment of cards with like a legendary one and some evolution lines and stuff like that. And they put a big box of energy cards on the table, so you've got all the ones you could need. And they're just like, open your boosters, find out what you've got, build a deck with what you've got here on the table, and play a little mini tournament. And you got to keep all the boosters and the cards that you got while making the deck, which was about 20 quid's worth of cards, which is about the price the tournament was. Plus, every time you won a match against someone, you won essentially the value of an extra 5's worth of cards.
Wow.
So
that's a booster pack, right?
Yeah, it was about €5, which is a booster pack. I think that's about the equivalent of about £3 in the UK, which is like, that's about what booster packs were when I played trading card games, like in the £3 range. It was a really fun little format, that. Here's the thing. I will never be, like, professional level at Pokemon, and everyone having to make decks from things that they opened right here and now, it levels the playing field somewhat, in that everyone's
you still kicked off, though, right?
I did pretty well. I won about 3/4 of my matches in that little tournament, but it helps that I pulled a really good card in my booster pack that was just like, haha, I have the high ground, everyone. It was really fun to play on, like, everyone having equally an uncertain footing and not being quite certain, and having a deck that was a little bit hodgepodge. Meaning that no one was getting too steamrolled.
Right.
To really double down on that format, there was another tournament type I took part in for the card game, which was Booster Battle. Which again was, you basically pay about the price of a booster pack for a booster pack, and you try and build a 10-card deck out of energy cards and cards you found in that booster pack. And you play a little mini tournament with this tiny deck, and instead of doing like your 6 prize cards, it's a single prize card. If you run out of cards in the deck, that's not an automatic loss, and it's just who can win out of a booster pack's worth of trying to build a deck.
Okay.
It's a really quick. It reminded me a lot of the Speed Duels Yu-Gi-Oh format, except
a quarter as many cards.
A quarter as many cards, and honestly, that kind of worked better because it was just literally 2 minutes. Get in, do the thing. No one's taking it too seriously because they're all like, it's fine. We only had one booster pack. What were we gonna make? And again, if you beat people in the game, you could get extra booster packs. So you were at least like getting the booster pack you paid for, plus maybe a bit more. It's a fun little side event. So both of those, I was like, if you're going there to buy some trading cards and have an excuse to play with people, those are both like interesting, fun formats that don't feel like they're price gouging, which is nice. I also took part in a couple of side event tournaments for Pokemon Go and Let's Go.
And how to do with them?
I did pretty well in them as well. So for the Let's Go side tournament they did, I certainly caught a couple of people off guard with my entirely shiny teams. I found that my existing knowledge of the Pokemon metagame was definitely helpful. I was like, I know what does relatively well in the video game, and I have a relatively good team already, so I think I used a Alolan Golem, which has, like, it's rock and electric type at the same time, which is quite difficult to deal with. It has, like, Fire Punch and Thunder Punch and a bunch of elemental moves that it doesn't seem like it should have. I had a Gengar, I had a Mega Charizard. I really liked the little team I had going. It's quite nice.
Nice.
Yeah. And the Pokemon Go tournament, they had some weird restrictions on. So if you've ever done battles in Pokemon Go, there are 3 tiers you can have, like unlimited strength, up to 2,500 CP, or only up to 1,500 CP. And they had their side tournament limited to 1,500, which is quite a low range to get under.
Yeah.
And my guess was that they were trying to discourage people from just using, here is the stuff from the top of the meta that everyone's using. Because a lot of people haven't prepared Pokemon under 1500 and they're like, crap, I have to actually think about what I'm picking. I think the strongest things I had available were the research breakthrough rewards, which will occasionally give you legendaries, will give you very weak legendaries.
Right.
So I had a couple of legendaries that just scraped in under 1500. But I found that Mighty Yenna, which is like a fire dog, was doing quite well. I can't remember what else I had in there that was good, but I had a Snorlax, I think, that was quite nice. But yeah, it was really fun to just spend a day immersed in playing Pokemon, because I really like Pokemon. And it was very nice to just be around a lot of other people who were enjoying Pokemon.
And then when you got back, we spent a whole day, or at least a whole afternoon, just organising your Pokemon cards.
Yeah, we spent the vast majority of a day going through all of my loose Pokemon cards and basically organising them by type, then by evolution line, then alphabetizing them by the first stage of their evolution line? Is that what we did?
Yeah,
I
that's
think?
what I remember that.
Yeah, and at some point I'm going to sit down with those and make myself a new deck. But I haven't gotten around to that yet, because too many other Pokemon things I had to do.
So many things.
So many things. What about you? What have you been up to this week?
Well, while you were away, you dumped a load of cardboard on the table.
Yeah!
And I rifled through that.
I was like, here's all them Labo bits what you haven't tried.
Exactly, because I hadn't tried most of them.
Yeah, tell me about those Labo bits.
I think the replay value is probably highest on something like the steering wheel.
Yeah. Did you try the steering wheel or the motorbike handlebars? Did you try them with Mario Kart at all?
I didn't try anything with Mario Kart.
Okay, but you tried them with the Labo software.
I tried them with the Labo software. I didn't much care for the rally racing aspect. I quite liked the exploration, mission mode. That was quite fun, being able to sort of get buzzsaws out. And
The steering wheel and pedal feels quite satisfying to use. Like, it's a nicely built prop, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's quite nice that you can sort of, as you pop your keys in, the key in your wheels pop up.
Mm.
That was quite fun. Yeah, there's sort of lots of good stuff with that. Overall, there is a lot of fun to be had. It's quite nice to be able to play that on a screen, because obviously with the handlebars, it's sitting right on you.
Yeah.
I struggled a bit with wanting to steer it rather than lean to it.
Yeah, that's very fair.
Which, considering I used to drive a scooter, I should be more used to. Don't steer it, lean into it.
I know, but it's easy to get your head around that.
Yeah, especially when you're sort of playing a video game. It's like,
Yeah.
This is how video game do. Leaning does nothing, remember?
Yes, but this motion video game.
Years of practice has told me that leaning does nothing. And now motion video game is like, no.
Yeah, but what if leaning did something?
What if lean did a thing? Yeah, that was alright. Apart from that, a first sort of big problem with using somebody else's already built Labo.
Yeah.
I think it was like Toy-Con 1, the set with the piano and the steering wheel, the handlebars and stuff. You couldn't start that until you had gone through the instructions to build at least one thing.
Oh, that's
So I had to sit there for like 5 minutes in fast forward just going... I mean, it's literally right here. It's here. I can point the IR camera at if you like. It's here. I've got it. I don't need the thing. I appreciate that you want to do this, but I don't.
That's a really good point.
And there's no way to sort of super skip it. If you quit out of it, it's like, you need to build something. Oh well, I guess I have to start that again. So yeah, I watched through building a thing. And then was allowed to sort of sit and play with the thing. So that was a bit of an annoyance. I didn't have the chocks for the piano,
yes.
so I could only make it do 2 things, and then whatever I could make it do using the bits for the house.
Oh yeah, you can pop the house bits in it, and then like a man sings when you press the piano key and things like that.
That was very strange. And also cats. I managed to get cats out of it.
Yeah, it's definitely not a full range piano, but it's quite like it works and it's satisfying. It responds to the key presses.
It does certainly respond to the key presses, but it being like just over an octave, or maybe exactly an octave, I was like, there's not enough to really get into this. Maybe if it had like 2 octaves, I realised that would have been like a pain in the bum to build, even if it's possible with the AI.
It has settings that you can use it with that Korg gadget software on Switch, I believe. So like if you set,
pretty cool.
So if you set which octave you want it to be on, and then go, okay, I can just like fiddle around with the keys and be like,
but for
that's
things
what I'm
like
trying to
playing
do.
chords is what I mean.
Oh yeah,
like,
yeah, I
obviously
see, yeah.
Because you've only got 1 octave. Yeah, you can do the thing with the side bit where you sort of take it up an octave or down an octave.
Yeah.
So there's that. And I imagine with the Korg though, it's quite good that you can just sort of tap things out a bit.
Yeah.
And then I suppose you can always like go further and.
Yeah, you could probably get your single octave melody and then turn it into a chord by going down the track and replicating some of the notes.
Yeah, something like that.
I can see there are ways you could use that to be something functional.
I imagine as a little mini MIDI device, it's great for the Korg.
Yeah.
But generally speaking, I feel like a lot of the magic was lost from Labo.
Yeah.
From not having built any of it. I was like, I mean, these are just basically just pretty basic games. It's not like I've gone, I have made this wonderful thing, and now I will behold it and see all the things that it does. I'm just like, I mean, it's alright.
It's the peril of it showing up for work when I then have like deadlines where I'm like, oops, gotta make a thing. But
I mean, like, you had all that enjoyment of, like, I will do the thing and see how it is. And you still haven't built the fishing rod. So.
I know, I need to do a fishing rod.
But I also finished messing about with the VR, because I've only got the blaster kit for VR.
Yeah,
and you've got the full kit. So
you got to try out the bird and the camera.
Those were a bit more satisfying to play.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't spend a huge amount of time with the camera. I quite liked doing the sort of underwater exploration.
The shutter click is quite satisfying.
It's quite satisfying. It's nice the way, as you sort of zoom into things like the mermaid or the diver, they'll sort of wave at you. I have been spotted. Getting tapped. And it's like the same thing I have with the PSVR. Like, underwater is beautiful in VR.
Oh gosh, yeah.
Even when it's like sort of slightly more cartoony style, as it is with that one.
There's something magical about being underwater in VR.
Yeah, because my ears aren't trying to explode under the pressure. Like I can't dive more than about sort of 6 or 7 feet before I start to feel really fucking uncomfortable.
Yeah.
So it's nice that there is that option that I can sort of see all that cool stuff and the big fishy way down the bottom there.
Mm-hmm.
It was nice to do that exploration. I stared up a duck's arse for about an hour and a bit.
It's quite fun to fly around and they give the eggs what they want.
I gave all the eggs what they wanted, even the giant
the big
golden,
the big gold one.
Yeah, I did all of that, even without the foot pedal, because I don't know. You don't know where the foot pedal's gone.
I don't know where the foot pedal's gone. Foot pedal's around somewhere.
The flappy.
The thing that flaps the air in your face.
Yeah, because apparently that speeds up your flight, so I had to do the whole thing at standard flight, just sit and just flap.
Honestly, I did the whole thing at standard speed as well, because I built it and was like, oh, I'll play this game, not realising I could have sped myself up.
It does mention it on one of the billboards, I think.
I know, but I was having a good time flying around already at that point.
Catching all the mushrooms.
Yeah.
It's a bit of a pain trying to get everything, like pick up the last few bits to feed the big one to get it to spawn. The fireworks look really nice. I quite enjoyed that. I had lots of fun pissing about with the elephant trunk as well, in an entirely separate one.
Yeah, you painted a nice 3D virtual reality tree.
I made a little tree with a little bird's nest. I was a bit irritated with the fact that I ran out of ink.
Yeah,
I was like, what? It's maybe, like, if I had to imagine it in a physical space in front of me, it's maybe a foot tall and, like, about that across as well.
One of these days we will do all of the faff to get Vive set up, because Tilt Brush is basically that, where you can walk around your creation in a 3D space, and there's no limit on the paint.
Because it is a bit of a pain to sort of have, like, you're holding the Switch / elephant's head up, and then you've got to sort of pilot the trunk around, and then obviously there's only so much range on that.
Yeah, it's a cool thing, but it's no replacement for Tilt Brush.
No.
And, like, if you enjoyed that even a little bit, I'm like, we need to set you up with Tilt Brush
I enjoyed
someday.
it a lot, but it was frustrating to sort of go, okay, now I need to see what it looks like from the other side, pick it up, grab the hand thing, and then sort of twilt it round. No, not like that, more like, no.
Yeah.
And eventually you're sort of wrangling it round to the other side, and then starting to paint the other side. And then, like, getting a little bird's nest and putting some little eggs in the bird's nest and putting all the leaves on. And then going, I'm going to do a bit more, I'm going to put some grass around the bottom. And I started putting grass around the bottom of it, and then it just went, you run out of ink. I was like, it's tiny!
Yeah, you need to try Tilt Brush. I think you're going to love it.
I think I will.
We will get there eventually, because Vive is a nightmare to set up, and it's going to be hell in our living room space. But we'll make it work.
I also really want to see what those controllers are like, because I've heard really good things about
Yeah,
those
they're
controllers.
pretty cool. So was there anything else in Labo you played around?
Yeah, I enjoyed the oh god, I nearly forgot. Yeah, I also had to go in just sort of with just pissing about with the icons, the stamps.
Yeah,
I suppose.
Yeah.
And I made like a little DNA helix using straight lines and the glowing stars, not the sort of star stickers, the flashy ones.
Yeah.
And flames.
Mm-hmm.
So I made a little sort of glowing DNA double helix. That was, it wasn't great, but I enjoyed that.
But you
I had a lot
made
of fun with it. I had a lot of fun just pissing about with the stamps in general.
Yeah.
Like somewhere there is one I did that is just this. It's ridiculous. It's just like I used the smoky stamp to make clouds, and then I put eyeballs on them. And one of them looks really sheepish. Already looked really sheepish, and I put little water droplets dropping out of it. So now it just looks like it's wet itself.
Oh no!
There was I put loads of little twinkly stars all around, and then I discovered the pixel art treble clef.
Oh yeah.
And sort of just there's like a huge amount of those, and then I got the sparkly stars out and was like wrapping them round lines of things.
There's something really magical about being able to paint in 3D space, isn't there?
Yeah, it's just like I can wind things around the things.
Yeah, it's really tough. And this isn't the perfect way to show it off, but it's good enough to show people like painting in physical 3D space there's something just kind of magical about it that you can't really explain until you've done it.
Yeah, and much better than those sort of the 3D printy pens.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, it was a lot of fun to piss about with.
Yay!
And then I tried that Breath of the Wild. Not for very long.
Yeah, should we get on to that? Have you tried the Mario Odyssey?
I haven't tried Mario Odyssey.
Okay, so while I was away, they updated both Mario Odyssey and Zelda Breath of the Wild to have VR support. Mario Odyssey has like some little levels you can do, and Breath of the Wild's like whole game of VR. Yeah. So, do you want to talk about your experience first?
Well, I think I'm sort of like midway through Ballad of the Champions.
Yeah.
For some reason, I got to the end of that game and then just didn't really want to do much more with it. Ballad of the Champions came out, and I was like, I'm not ready to go back to it yet.
Yeah.
So I went back into it briefly. I did part of that. I got onto the giant-sized temples.
Oh yeah.
And I'm sort of stuck on one of those at the moment. So I sort of went straight into the beginning of that temple in VR. And the first thing I noticed was, by moving my head, I almost immediately felt ill.
Yeah.
Really fucking ill.
This game does not handle head tracking for camera movement the way that VR games, like every other VR game, has decided is the standard and how you're supposed to do it.
Yeah.
Most VR games, you are like a camera at a fixed point in 3D space, and when you turn your head, you basically stay in the position you are.
And it pivots.
You pivot on a locked point. Like your head is the locked point and you can look around from it. But in this, the locked point is Link. And when you turn, it rotates your position in 3D space around Link.
It basically attaches your head movement to the R stick, the right stick.
Kind of, but it's rotating your head around in 3D space rather than looking from the position you're in.
Yeah.
And like a head turn translating into a head
Rotate
and
around.
like swing around in 3D space feels really odd.
It really, yeah.
Yeah, it makes me feel motion sick too. Don't worry about it.
It was weird because, like, almost immediately, the first thing I do in 3D is tend to just sort of have a good look around, like a good sort of making a circle in the air with my eyes, and I did that quite quickly and immediately went.
So, I had to dig around in the settings. There is, I believe, a setting that you can just turn off the head tracking, so moving your head doesn't move the camera, which seems like the best option because, like, I quite enjoyed playing Breath of the Wild in VR when I basically was like, okay, don't move your head, use the stick to look around.
Yeah.
But basically turning the VR headset into, this is just basically a big cinema screen near my face, like
with depth.
Yeah, it's got depth, and I've shut out the world around the game.
Yeah.
Which
that's what I really enjoyed about it. Like, the depth was beautiful, especially like because in the shrines there's very often like, hey, here is a platform that descends into forever.
Yeah,
and being able to sort of like look around like under the bridges that you're walking across, and obviously there are all those little dust motes that you see.
Yeah.
The fact they sort of hang in the air, that's really pretty, but.
Yeah.
Just no head tracking, please. So just sitting there, stock still, going,
So,
don't move.
I believe there's a setting you can just turn it off so that you can move your head and it's not going to do that swingy thing.
No.
But yeah, I did because you were doing this with the Labo VR headset with the controllers held up near your face,
That
right?
was my only option.
Yeah.
You want to tell us about your new and shiny option?
Yeah, the new and shiny option. So I've got to thank, and I need to double check the user's name on Twitter to make sure I get this right. So yeah, a big thanks to Alex Blackmore on Twitter, who like super helped with this. I tweeted when I reviewed the Labo VR on cardboard, like, hey, I wish that there was an option to have a head strap and something a bit more solid than this, because that would really, encourage me to actually use this, because I didn't want to have my hands up near my eyes while I played Breath of the Wild.
No.
And Alex 3D printed and sent me a 3D printed plastic Labo VR headset.
It looks really good.
Yeah, it's got head straps on it. It's got elastic that loops through and is adjustable. It's in blue. It's real
in your
nice.
colours.
It's in my colours. I did a bit of a test out with it. He's done it super well in that, like, it works with the existing stuff for Labo VR, so you can still plug this into the bird's arse or the bazooka or whatnot.
Ooh.
It fits into them just fine. And yeah, this basically, for me, I wore it for quite a while today just to make sure it felt right with the Switch in there. Switch is definitely not too heavy to hold up with your head. Like, my arms ached holding the Switch up with one hand to, like, play Labo VR. This is a lot more comfortable for a lot longer.
Yeah.
It's honestly what I wanted out of VR on the Switch.
Yeah.
It's just a comfortable head strap option that feels safe and secure, like my Switch isn't going to fall to the ground, and I can comfortably relax my arms, like, down by my lap while I play.
Yeah.
And
Things like Breath of the Wild, very good.
Exactly. Like, the whole time I was away, I had my flights to and from Germany, I kept thinking, I really wish this had arrived in time for this trip, because, like, next time I'm on a nice long flight and I just want to, like, forget about, like, all the cramped conditions around me, just stick this on, stick Breath of the Wild on, stick some headphones on, I'll be in another fucking world for a while.
Yeah, they've done a really good job with that. Like, I like the way the like VR lenses fit in really nicely, and the sides are labelled left and right when you pull them out.
Yeah, so it makes use of the existing plastic lens section from the Labo VR kit. So like the base version of that is, I think, like 20 something quid, but yeah, you just pop the lenses in the side. There's like some nuts you unscrew to pull some to pull some sections out and pop that in, but it feels really secure. And
but it's also got like a space for the fan.
Yep.
It's got space for the charging port.
Yeah, it's just a very smart solution. And if you want to try one yourself, Alex has put the 3D printer files for it just on Twitter and put them online. I should, by the time this goes up, have an article about this 3D printed headset, which will include the tweet that includes the 3D printer files. You can just print one of these and make it.
Yeah.
And it's real nice.
And you can paint yours any colour you like.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So, honestly, like, I wouldn't have played a huge amount of VR Breath of the Wild otherwise, but this has got me going, you know what? Yeah, I'll do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You played anything else this week?
I'll need to double check, but I think so. I think that's everything.
You reckon that's it? I played more Pokemon Go. I got a couple more regionals. I now have Carnivine.
Carnivine.
Did you have one more thing?
I played one other thing I started playing last night. I had a go at that HD Shadow of the Colossus.
Oh yeah, how are you getting on with that?
It took me a while to work out the controls because I picked up from your save where you'd already beaten the first boss.
Yeah.
Colossus.
Yeah, you picked up my non-work save where I was one Colossus in.
Yeah, and there's me sitting there going, hang on, the controls have changed.
Yes, it's modern control style.
It's modern control style that I found incredibly unintuitive. Maybe if I'd started the game not expecting it to be the original controls.
Yeah. That's the thing.
Right.
If you've played a game before, there's a part of your brain that's like, but do how you used to do.
I think the reason that is so stuck in my head is because I broke a controller playing the original. I don't know if I mentioned this on the show before.
I don't know if you have.
I was holding the triangle button, which was like hold on, so hard I broke the controller. My triangle button just stopped working. I was like, and then I tried to like turn it on and play again. I was like, no, my only controller. Because why would I have two controllers? It's only ever me.
Exactly. I know that feel.
So yeah, it's pretty. I went through that Dappley Forest section from the original. And I just did not feel it had captured the beauty of that area. Yeah. Because it was a little bit more like foggy, and I know that's obviously probably some degree in the original that was to do with like limitations on the hardware, but just the way the light shines through fog and gets like the god rays more intense were just really incredible in the original.
We discussed this last night, the Silent Hill 2 HD remake on the PS3 where just all the fog is gone. Because they're like, oh, that fog was because tech limitations, we don't need the fog now.
But we need it because it was beautiful and atmospheric.
There's a certain degree of that going on. But like, I overall think that is like a really beautiful way to make that game stand the test of time a lot more. Like, that game is hard to go back to in its original form, and this is definitely a lot easier to recommend to people and go, hey, it feels a lot more like a modern game.
I tried it a couple of years ago, and something someone pointed out to me not so long ago as well was the fact that not doing it on a CRT TV.
Yeah.
Really does make a difference because modern televisions can just make old games look really fucking bad.
Yeah. Well, it's less that than old TVs obscured how bad the game looked to some degree.
To some degree. I suppose you could pop scan lines on and hope for the best.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think for whatever reason, like modern TVs don't always do PS2 games a favour.
Yeah. Is that everything we played?
That is everything I played.
Well then. Time for this.
Ooh. Hello, welcome to Toasty Heat. How can I help you?
Hi, my boiler's not working at all. I don't know what's gone on with it, but all the lights have gone out. It's not functioning at all. It seems like it's not got any power going to it.
Have you tried resetting it?
Yeah, I have tried resetting it, and to no avail.
Right, okay. And there's no lights on, there's nothing on the display?
No lights whatsoever.
Right, okay. And can you see the fuse spur? Is there a light on that?
Yeah.
Okay, so it sounds like it might be a problem with the printed circuit board within your boiler. Let me see. Oh. You've changed your title on the on your account recently.
Yes.
You wouldn't happen to be trans, would you?
Not that it's any of your business, but yes, I am.
Right.
What does that have anything to do with my boiler?
Well, see, what it might be is it might be a trans broken boiler. Because of the hormones, you're getting hotter. Sometimes you're experiencing like hot flushes because of the hormones, and that can really adjust things. So, like, I would love to send an engineer out, but there's a bit of a waiting list for your particular needs.
I'm really sorry. This isn't a problem with anything to do with me being trans. This is a broken boiler, and like you've yourself just said that it sounds like it's a problem with the printed circuit board.
But I mean, I'm not a qualified engineer. You would need someone who is gas safe registered to have a proper look at that. There is a waiting list for that. We can get you a referral sent across to a properly qualified engineer. I believe the waiting time at the moment is about 2.5 years.
That's ridiculous. And even then, like, that's not what, like, I'm trying to contact you about a totally unrelated issue.
Well, that's just an initial diagnosis. Obviously, you would then need to go and see a second engineer who'll be able to refer you and see if you qualify.
I'm trying to deal with the fact that my boiler's broken.
Well, no, I quite understand. Like, obviously, we do want to try and fix that for you. Obviously, that's a very strong thought in your head, and you need to be absolutely sure that you want your heating and hot water.
Yes, I want my heating and hot water back on.
Well, no, obviously that's what you're saying right now. But we wouldn't want to rush into anything.
Yes, we would. I want my boiler and hot water.
Well, absolutely, I understand that, and we'll definitely get you on that waiting list. I will send a letter across now. I mean, think about it. It's better than it used to be. It's much better than it used to be. We used to have people sent to a local psychologist before they had their specific boiler issues sorted. Hello? Hello? If you're not responding, I'll have to cancel. Okay, thank you, bye.
This is the joys of being trans in the medical field.
Yay!
Yay! Oh, it's been a week. It's been a week.
It has. I've been stuck in this holding pattern for at least 20 minutes now.
Oh goodness! I've last thing I knew, I was in Hong Kong. Now I'm back here in New York. I'm about to go over to Iceland. I'm losing track of what time zone I'm in.
Same. I was in London yesterday, and then I flew, did a brief stop off in Singapore. Now New Zealand, and then back to London.
I flew from France to England, and I landed before I took off. How's that one work?
It's weird how time works. Like, I think there's some kind of time dilation effect as you leave the Earth, that you hit about 37,000 feet.
It is a problem. It's a problem. I've been doing all these flights. I've been flying around. I've been, stretching my engines, getting a good fly.
Yeah.
And the more I hop between time zones, the more I find that I'm just, slow. Not only am I exhausted, I'm slow to react. I'm going to do something. It's taking me 2 or 3 seconds to do it.
Yeah, well, sometimes more than that. Like, my reaction time's really down. Like, my CPM's just not quite hitting it.
It really sucks having jet lag.
So, what have you watched?
What have I watched? We watched a thing together at like midnight when I had like a flight that I had to be at for at like 5 a.m.
Was that this week? Goodness.
Yeah, that was Wednesday night, so it was the night after we recorded last episode. We went and saw that Avengers Endgame.
We did.
I thought that was easily the best, and we're going to stay spoiler-free as much as we can here. I think that was by far the best way they could have concluded that many concurrent plot lines.
Yeah.
I think it was a funny film.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't feel as long as I expected it to at 3 hours. Like, it didn't feel like a 3 hour film.
I didn't even need to go for a toilet break.
Yeah.
Which is very unlike me.
It was a very well-paced 3 hours. I like that all of the main characters we were following had time to really have their plots explored properly.
Yeah. and obviously there's quite a lot to unpack because it's the end of the thing.
Yeah.
We know that actors are going.
Yeah,
So,
actors who don't have their contracts renewed.
Exactly, because I don't want to, and I guess that's fine. You get actors that have done a role for a long time. So it was nice to be able to sort of take some time, whereas I think someone calculated that in Age of Ultron, each main character had enough time within the film for 8 minutes of character development, not including all the action scenes that took up some of that time.
This is one of the good things about Infinity War snapping away, like, on paper half the cast, but it feels like a lot more than half the cast. And basically going, let's just focus on the original, like, first 6 or 7.
Gen.
Yeah, the first gen.
The Gen 1 Pokemon.
The first gen plus, like, one extra character they needed because he was plot relevant.
Captain America, I choose you.
I like that this film took its time. Like, I think it justified its 3-hour runtime because it had time to, like, it took time to mourn. It took time to be funny. It took time to do character development and plot development and close off these characters. And it just felt like all of the multiple things it was trying to do, it had time to do properly.
Yep, including being slightly problematic.
Problematic. Should we briefly get onto that? I don't think it's a spoiler.
I don't think it's a spoiler. And I think the way I've seen it said without spoilers, skip ahead maybe 30 seconds. PTSD is explored in a way. PTSD and weight gain is explained in a way that is played for laughs.
Yeah.
Not going to say more than that.
Yeah, no. I think there is one particular shot that I'm not going to detail where the entire crux of the joke is, ha ha ha, character has gained weight and you didn't expect that. That's kind of shitty, and like I'm not going to give it a free pass for that, but I think largely I don't think they could have given the characters that got send-offs in this film, I don't think they could have done a better, more satisfying send-off for them.
No.
I think they did a very good job of going, this is the end of an era, 22 films in the making.
I think that was the best finale we could have hoped for.
Yeah.
For 22 films, because at that point it's so fucking hyped.
It's 22 films that have all been saying, hey, that Endgame film, we're heading to it, that film's gonna happen.
Yeah.
And I think they justified it. Like, it felt like a finale worthy of 22 films of build-up.
Yeah.
I very much enjoyed it.
I mean, as much as any film could be worth 22 other films of build-up.
Yeah, that's fair. I have my complaints. I don't fucking understand how
How does time travel work?
How does time travel work in this? How does time work? But I really enjoyed all the character stuff. I'm very ready for the next era of Marvel films that comes in after this.
Yes.
And I'm amazed that they stuck the landing well enough to go, yeah, they haven't shot themselves in the foot, they can keep going.
Yeah, so now we need our Ms. Marvel film, and our Squirrel Girl film.
Yeah.
And more Black Panther, please.
I want the Young Avengers with Spider-Man at the helm. I want that.
Somebody pointed out the what was it, like all the bugs? So we need like Spider-Man to lead them. What's the name from Guardians of the Galaxy? Yellow Jacket.
Oh yeah.
So or just all of the bug people.
That's a real cute
that
idea.
That would be a good combination.
I would go for the bug team, the bug Avengers.
Yeah. I want to see that. Guardian 3, I guess. Like, are we going to be exploring what are we going to be exploring with that?
I don't
want to... swerving away from spoilers.
I don't want to talk spoilers, but I have my guesses of where that's going. I like that Miss Marvel wasn't overused.
Yes.
She very much could have been a problem solver, but I think they justified very well why she appeared briefly and then was like, I'm going to go do something else.
It's the eternal Superman problem, really, isn't it?
Yeah, it's what do you do with the overly powerful hero?
Yeah.
And you just make the very good justification they did of, like, Yeah.
Because reasons.
Yeah, because reasons. And actually, it didn't even feel like because reasons. It felt like...
I mean, no, there was... I'm avoiding spoilers.
Yeah,
there was a reason.
There was a very good reason.
And...
As much as I wanted more Miss Marvel.
Definitely. Also, a lot of good lesbian energy from her haircut.
Oh, so much good lesbian energy.
It was like, yes, I like the haircut. More of that.
If you've been watching the Marvel films, I think this is the best Avengers film.
Yeah.
It's the most satisfying one because they actually had fucking time to do their ensemble cast film.
I'm also excited for Spider-Man.
Homecoming.
Is it Homecoming? Wasn't that their first
one?
one?
That was the first one.
Holiday Europe.
Europe holiday. Going to Europe.
National Spider-Man's European vacation.
Yeah, what else have we watched this week?
We watched that She-Ra. Talking of big gay energy.
We watched all of season 2 of She-Ra.
I'm so sure.
Because it's the Voltron team, which, like, one thing they're known for is they will get seasons out quick. So, like, suddenly you're like, oh, new season, yay! And then you're like, oh yeah, that season's also pretty short.
It's like 7 episodes, I think.
Yeah, but like, I would rather have this than the Steven Universe thing, where it's like, here's 4 episodes, wait a year.
Yeah.
Like, I would rather, like, 7 episodes that feel like they are a complete arc.
Yeah.
And then, like, 6 weeks from now we'll have another.
Maybe. Yeah, like, I'm still enjoying it.
Yeah.
I think they generated enough goodwill with the first series being like a full-length series to go, we're going to just chuck it out 6 or 7 episodes at a time for a while.
That's the thing. That I don't mind those short season runs as long as they're fairly regular, which Voltron suggests they will be. But they did some really nice character development stuff.
Yeah.
I really like sort of the progression we got for our heroes, for the sort of darker side. I really enjoyed a lot of the stuff around Hair Girl. Entraptor.
Hair Girl.
Hair Girl. You knew who I meant. Purple Hair Girl.
Awesome science girl.
Entraptor's arc this season was super interesting.
Mm-hmm.
As was Catra's.
Yes.
I think, like, Entraptor and Catra's stuff was... Oh, I know, yeah. It was a really good season, though.
Yeah, it was nice to see more from Bo. Frostra.
Oh, yeah.
She's young.
Yes.
Clearly, there's some friction there, I feel.
Also, I'm glad that we got to meet more of Bo's family. Oh, the episode with Bo's family. I love Bo's family. I want them to be happy forever.
They're so precious.
Oh, they're so precious.
There's so much love in that family. So much love in that family.
I know, right?
Yeah, and there's like big overarching stuff going on, like all the first one's tech and like Hordak backstory, and we got some more Shadow Weaver backstory.
Yeah, it felt like, while there were definitely episodes like the D&D one that were just sort of having a bit of fun, I feel like the season as a whole progressed the plot in meaningful ways.
Yeah, and even the D&D episode, there was still important things going on. It was just phrased in such a way that made it feel like it was going to be a D&D episode.
They did the really good thing of, ha ha ha, funny episode, funny episode, funny episode. Oops, we're going to explore character feelings at the end.
Mm-hmm.
It was definitely a exaggerated smokescreen to do some character work.
Yeah, it should.
Felt important.
Mm-hmm.
What about you? What else have you watched?
I've been watching a bunch of Chris Ramsey videos.
Oh, yeah?
I think you've mentioned Chris Ramsey before. He does, he's a close-up magician, but he also does, like, puzzle solving.
Oh, yeah, that puzzle dude I'm subscribed to. Yeah.
So I just sat down and watched, like, a bunch of his videos. I think, like, the day you went.
Oh.
So I'm just going to sit here and, I don't know, just need some mindless YouTube.
Oh.
And I like watching people solve puzzles and things, and he does, like, the stupidly expensive puzzles that I know I'll never be able to buy myself, so it doesn't matter that I'm watching a solution to it. Like, puzzles that cost like £1,500 are made in like, or $1,500 are made in like super limited quantities by, like hand machined by like like Japanese puzzle box makers.
Yeah.
Like trick locks, trick puzzles, all sorts of things like that.
They're a real. They got a real fascinating channel. I enjoy a lot of their puzzle stuff.
Yeah, I'm less interested in the magic stuff, but it's just like I love watching them sort of fathom through like all the different puzzle things.
Watching their process of how they try and get to the solution on these things is fascinating.
And obviously as someone who has also done puzzle boxes and puzzle cubes and things like that, like I love, like, I know some of the techniques, like, hey, well, let's try spinning this thing, let's try doing this with this thing. Yeah. Like, we know these techniques of how these things work. And then there was, have you seen the bad radio puzzle solve?
Yeah.
It's so funny because he's going through things like, hey, and let's try this thing, and let's try this, and this is a thing that happens, and I can hear this when I shake it slightly, so clearly there's some of this, that, and the other going on. And eventually he just gives up on it and goes, well, you know, sometimes, like, you've got to look at, like, what's written on these things. Sometimes you've got to, like, look at the name of the thing and try and work out what it is. And the thing's called bad radio. It's like, so what do you do with the bad radio? So he tries, like, hitting it on the sides and, like, the thing, and then just tries hitting it on the top, and the whole thing just bursts open. It's like, aha! And just, like, even then, like, explaining the mechanism of how it works and like, why he was hearing things is like, that's a cool piece of subterfuge somebody has made.
It's a fascinating channel I would recommend for people who want to go down a rabbit hole.
Yeah, if you like watching people, like, solve things and work
Tinkering with things.
Tinkering, yes.
Yeah.
So Chris Ramsey on YouTube, that's lots of fun stuff.
Yeah.
What about you?
I watched that Sonic the Hedgehog movie trailer. Why does Sonic have, like, human baby teeth? He's just got tiny human teeth in his mouth. It's unsettling. He has tiny human teeth.
His quills, like, generally, are a bit weird. His spines, rather, are a bit, like, well, is that a big one? Or, like, are they made of lots of little ones?
His rings now teleport things.
I guess that was like one of the big teleport rings.
His fur is made of electricity.
Apparently, he does electric things.
Some of the humor and the acting in that trailer seemed amusing.
I did 9 million steps today.
Yeah, I'm sure that there will be things to enjoy about this film, but this first trailer has not sold me.
It's got Jim Carrey in it. It was never going to sell me.
There's a lot of moments in that trailer where I'm like, you can do convincing CGI in a live action adaptation of a video game. The Detective Pikachu trailers look great. This Sonic one, there are several shots where I'm like, Sonic does not look like he's stood in that environment. He just looks like he's floating, like, pasted over footage. It's not well blended in CGI.
Yeah, a lack of weight sometimes.
Yeah, like, if you're gonna have your lead character be a CGI character, you need to give them some serious, like, weight and presence within the world.
Yeah.
Like, Detective Pikachu, he got that. Sonic don't got that.
No.
I believe Sonic. I believe Detective Pikachu is the lead. I don't believe Sonic.
Yeah.
There's
some weird design choices made with that character.
Yeah.
Like, okay, it's fine if you need to separate the eyes that badly. That's fine.
His body proportions look like that of a
looks like someone's put him on the rack.
He looks like a very scrawny, lanky human with a mascot head on.
Yeah, like, are we going to find out he's like Hello Kitty and actually that's just a costume?
Yeah, that would explain the human teeth in there.
Ah, there we go. It's just a Kiki. It's just a Sonic Kiki.
I would be less concerned by that. That would be more reassuring. So that trailer was something. You watched anything else?
No, that was quite enough for me. Thank you.
The only other thing I watched those Pokemon Championships because I was at the Pokemon Championships. I'm still trying to work out how to put together my thoughts on the trading card game finals and the video game finals.
Right.
The trading card game finals were two incredibly similar decks, and it ultimately came down to what cards were being dealt into the prize cards was the big deciding factor in who was winning. Like,
that was a card draw issue.
Here's what I would say. It was a fascinating final to watch if you wanted to understand the top competitive meta deck right now, because two people playing the same deck against each other, you really get a sense of like what does this deck do when it's like doing its thing correctly? What are the big counters to it? Like, it was a really interesting way to get to know that deck. But the big thing that was ultimately deciding the winner was often, okay, when those 6 prize cards are dealt out, which obviously you then don't have access to unless you win them, was meaning that when people were doing, like, do this card to search your deck for blank,
and then not
finding it and being like, I have to work around not being able to do my optimal strategy, that was generally what was affecting the game play, which is like, I understand why people don't enjoy that. I enjoyed it from an academic perspective, but it didn't make for the most interesting... It was difficult to know who to root for when both people were using essentially the same deck. It's not like you could go, I like that deck type more, I'll root for you. The video game finals, a lot of it was people still trying to work out, like, the current meta for... There's a lot of staples that people have been using this tournament in terms of every team essentially has an Incineroar because it's got really good moves, it's got really good typing, it can do Intimidate, which lowers the attack of the other team when it comes out. It's got this thing called U-Turn that helps it to attack and then swap out for something else.
And that's Sun and Moon.
Yeah, that's Ultra Sun and Moon. Every team either has a Groudon or a Kyogre, which were the Ruby and Sapphire legendaries, which can now, like, they basically have these... They're called primal evolutions. It's basically like you can activate one of them once a match to turn your thing into something special. Doing that allows you to do weather effects, so it can either boost up the sun or the rain, which affects certain move types. So a lot of people were using those to boost stats to the type of team they wanted to run. Most of the teams were running Gengar, which they turned into Mega Gengar, because it could do Perish Song, which kills the, like... Basically, Mega Gengar can swap the opponent's Pokemon from swapping out, and it can then use a move called Perish Song, which, if you don't swap out within 3 turns, your Pokemon die. So it then becomes like a race against time for the other team to be like, can I kill your Mega Gengar or force it to retreat before Perish Song kills my team?
Right.
So like, there's a lot of strategies we were seeing come up where it's like, okay, I understand why these are happening. The main interesting points was the last, like, 2 or so Pokemon in each team and going, like, what are people filling those last couple of slots with? Stack Attacker, the big wall with legs, was an interesting pick some people were using to counter Mega Gengar's Perish Song. There were some interesting counter picks. I still need to, I need to write down my thoughts on the VG finals properly. I'm doing that the day after we record this. The one that I do know how to talk about is the finals for the Pokken Championships, because that was really interesting. Basically, long and story, it's a story. Pokken Tournament is a fighting game with Pokemon, but made by the Tekken people. Basically, at the World Championship levels, it's basically dominated by a lot of Japanese players, as are a lot of professional fighting games. No idea why, it just seems to be the case. And a lot of Japanese players in the last couple of years have, if they fail to qualify in the Japanese qualifiers for Pokken, will fly to other regional competitions. Basically, the way it was described to me by the person who won the EU Championships was, they see it as an easy win or an easy way to, I missed out on the World Championships, I'll go win in someone else's qualifiers to get my World Championship spot.
Yeah.
And there was this player who went by the name of Defender of EU, who basically was like, no, this is the EU Championships. Someone from the EU should win this. This is our championships. We're not, you can come over here and you can do well, but, you're not winning a spot at the World Championships here. Well, we're gonna win.
How am I gonna win?
Yeah, and watching him play became, a real little underdog story. Basically, he lost against the 2016 world champion in, basically at the point in the competition that knocked him down to the losers bracket. So, he was at risk of, getting knocked out the competition altogether. And he just, like, pulled his A game out of nowhere. Like, once he was in that loser's bracket, he was like, nope, I'm not going home. And he just started beating every single team, no matter how much better than him they were meant to be. He was knocking his way back up. And he gets to the finals match and gets to rematch the person who knocked him down to the loser's bracket. First time they fought, the 2016 world champion beat him 2-0. Like, it looked like Defender of EU just, like, wasn't on that level. Like, he just wasn't up to the challenge. He had to win 2 back-to-back best 3 out of 5 sets. Like, the first one to reset the bracket, because obviously he was in the loser's bracket, and then 1 to actually win the EU championships.
Wow.
And he managed it. He got a clean 6-0 victory. Like, he won his best 3 out of 5, 3-0, and then his next one, 3-0. It was fascinating to watch, in that, like, he's up against arguably the world's best player of Pokken, and he just starts playing really aggressively, like, throwing out moves that don't make sense, and that were kind of unpredictable. Like, he was playing in a way that no one would really play this game. Throwing out moves that have really wide windows to punish, like, that if you do them at the wrong moment, you can take a lot of damage in response. And he was throwing those moves at left, right, and centre, and just hitting them every time, because he was just... He really had a good read on his opponent and was like... He knew how to wait just long enough that his opponent was like, oh, okay, you're playing like a normal fighter now. Oh, no, you did it again. Just keeping him on his edge. And he won, and I got to chat to him, and his sentiment was basically like... He couldn't even accept, like, he's got a new job, so he can't actually go to the World Championships that he qualified for. He had to forfeit his spot, but he's like... I don't really care that I can't go to the World Championships. I just wanted someone from the EU to win the European Championships. Just to prove a point to the Japanese players that, like, going to other countries' regionals doesn't guarantee you a spot at Worlds.
Nice.
Because, yeah, you look at other regionals, like the Oceania regionals for, like, Australia, New Zealand.
Yeah.
The top 2 there was 2 Japanese players. I believe the North American finals for 2018 was the same situation. So yeah, just like this, all of the European people who were at the World Championships really got behind Defender of EU to be like, no, yeah, this is our championships. You go win the Japanese one and then go to Worlds. This one's for us. So I got really into watching that one. Got very invested in it. I think that's everything else I've watched. The day after we record this, I'm watching something, but I can't talk about it yet. We'll talk about that next week. That thing on the table.
I'm looking at your invite right now.
Yeah, I know. Next week I can talk about that.
I'm very excited.
Mysterious thing you'll know soon.
I'm going to see it in like 2 weeks.
Well, that's fine. I'm going to come see it with you I'm going to see it again. I'm very excited. I wonder why I'm very excited. There's a topic I'm very excited about. So, time for this.
Inside the boardroom of Electronic Active Softworks.
Hi, how's it going? It's good. We just got back from, preparing for that upcoming conference where we're gonna, find all sorts of new ways to fleece people from their money.
Yeah.
Oh, goodness, it's gonna be a fun week that week.
Always. I mean, that is the most fun week we have. We just keep making outrageous claims and hope no one calls us on it.
Yeah. So, time for another meeting, wrap up on what new strategies we've got for, getting those flea bags to squeeze out every penny they got.
Sure.
You got any new ideas?
Well, you remember how, like, video game movies were a thing? And they were always absolute garbage.
Yeah.
How about more of that?
So, like, here's the thing I'm wondering, because, like, our competitor, they in a couple of weeks, they got that quite good-looking video game movie coming out. Yeah. And I'm just like, are they seeing something we don't, or, is there a reason we're making bad ones?
I mean, cheapness. Like, we just... Basically, what I've been doing so far is just letting our licenses go to whoever, and then they just have to pay us money. Like... We make money, they make money. Apparently they were getting grants from, like, the German Film Board or something, And like, as long as they kept churning shit out, like, have you seen the show, the Producers?
Yeah.
Basically, they could churn out garbage and make more money from a flop than from a success.
Huh.
And basically, because they were getting all these grants, they were, getting the grants. They were making movies. They were increasing their IMDb, but not really any serious profit. We found that that's a nice, stable way of getting a lot of money over a period of time.
Yeah, and I've been thinking about this. Like, there's a couple of ways that we can go about this. So, like, if we just hand, the project off to any old team and they make it, they make bad film, we've still made our profit because, they've had to pay to license it from us. We use that as our excuse. We say your film was bad, we're giving it to someone else.
Yeah.
And then we can just market that one, which it's going to be shit too. But we'll say, like, no, there's a different company making it, and that company can make films. Go see another film in that franchise.
Absolutely. And we'll just keep rebooting the damn thing over and over.
Yeah. And that's the thing, is like, they'll keep going because the hope that it'll be good this time. Because, ultimately, they're going to keep...
We're selling hope, right?
Well, this is it. Like, they so desperately want to see a good film of that franchise they love that if we make a good film of that franchise, they'll be satisfied. They won't come back to the next reboot. They already sold one they liked.
Exactly. We have to make sure that they're constantly hoping. We're just going to tease it a little bit. But eventually, maybe we could let one slip by that's a bit better than the others, but not too good, because obviously we want people to think that can always be topped. With the next movie, and they're going to go for that.
You are a fucking genius.
I know. Laura, we've got a new sponsor.
Tell us about our new sponsor.
This week's sponsor is, it's a celebrity-endorsed one.
Oh, one of celebrities?
Yes, have you ever heard of Goop?
Oh, I have heard of Goop. This is that one that Gwyneth Paltrow is always going on about with all of her health advice that is very good health advice.
Yeah, absolutely. All, like, number one health advice.
Definitely good health advice. So, let me ask, is she expecting me to shove a jade egg up my vagina?
No,
this isn't about jade eggs up the vagina. A real thing that she has asked people to do for their health.
No, that's out. It's all about the obsidian wand now.
Oh, tell me about the obsidian wand.
The obsidian wand is approximately 4 centimeters in diameter and about 1.5 foot long. And will cost you somewhere in the region of about £6,000. But if you just insert that into your, just lower that into yourself, if you're a sword swallower, you might be able to get it down that way. If you're an anus haver, you can shove it up there. If you're a vagina haver, you can pop it up there. It'll tone everything. It's just good for orifices. If you can dilate your ear wide enough, you can get that in there.
And this is just like a singular, solid rod that doesn't bend or anything.
Oh no, it's volcanic glass. It's absolutely not going to.
And how long did you say it is?
It's about 2 foot long.
Okay.
You don't have to put the whole lot in. But it's important, it channels the energies.
Okay. I thought I had to get the whole thing in, so I just have to channel the obsidian energy inside.
Exactly. So you basically need to make sure that the point that isn't in you, there is a very specific end. And that end is sort of pointed particularly towards a particular star, and then you just sort of sit there pointing it at the star.
Now, obsidian's a very interesting choice. What's the end result we're hoping for?
At the end of the day, I think we're hoping for more calmness, forgiveness, perhaps.
Yes.
And generally a sense of well-being and a happiness.
And also maybe, a few demonic souls might enter and possess you, but that's
fine. That's fine.
Forget about the demons that are using obsidian as a portal to your body.
Absolutely. And then there is this new face cream.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, this is a new face cream. It's made from malachite and jasper.
And other crystal gems?
No. No. That's a whole different thing. It's made from malachite and jasper and mineral oil and duck fat.
Oh, yes.
It's all in there, and apparently it's very good. It's exfoliant, and it's also very good. It rejuvenates the skin. It makes you sparkle.
Is it both an exfoliant and an infoliant?
Yes.
Yes.
It's multiple foliants.
Both foliants in one.
It's good for getting rid of free radicals.
Yeah.
And introducing more restrained radicals into your life, so that it's not too radical. It's more of a conservative radicalization rather than just facial anarchy.
What can I get through this sponsorship?
Through this sponsorship, you can get $5 US off of your first purchase of anything over $3,000.
Well, let's be honest, it's a coupon. I wasn't going to get anything under 3,000.
No, it's a coupon.
What's the code?
You just head over to goop.net.lol for some reason, and you click on the microphone there and enter the code QNPS65, and you will get that $5 off shipping of your first purchase of anything over $3,000. So, what have you listened to?
Listen to? I've not listened to a huge amount because I've been busy at that Pokemon thing. I did listen to the April Fool's Day episode of Oh No, Ross and Carrie, which I've mentioned this podcast before. It's two people who go and basically debunk pseudoscientific claims and organizations usually. They've done things like they infiltrated Scientology for a while.
Holotropic breathing.
Holotropic breathwork, yeah. I'm trying to find...
Ayahuasca retreat.
Oh yeah, their ayahuasca one. Give me a second. I'm trying to find the title of this April Fool's Day episode they did this year. Yeah, so that April Fool's Day episode, they had an episode going up on April Fool's Day this year. And it's still up on their feed, but they had... Initially, it had no disclaimer, and if you go back and listen to it now, there's a disclaimer at the start to be like, we published this on April Fool's Day, just for your awareness. Where they did an interview with a fake guru of something called Judeo-Fitness, which was a combination of Jewish religious beliefs and very dangerous fitness practices.
Because one of them's Jewish, aren't they?
Yes. So the idea is that they basically pretend, like, normally they do investigations into actual, like, weird cults and things.
Sweet, they started their own.
Yeah, they basically, like, always say, like, hey, look, we're open to, like, if someone can show us evidence that works, we're open to it. Recently, the Mental Bank episodes they've been like, look, it's basically cognitive behavioral therapy under a weird wrapper. We'll keep trying it, sure. So they basically pretended that they joined this, that they'd finally been won over, and they were doing an interview with this Judeo fitness coach that was spouting up. It was very clearly nonsense, like, it's a lot of the things that they usually debunk were coming up, and they were pretending like they hadn't noticed they were going on. Part of this religious fitness program was selling supplements, and it was in, this sort of triangle sort of structure of how the sales
scheme,
work.
You could say.
Yeah, something like that. And it was quite an amusing one, but I will give you the caveat that, like, in trying to parody some of these dangerous cults and beliefs, they pretended like they were going along with and suggesting that some kind of dangerous eating practices were healthy.
Ooh.
And, like, it's very clear within the context of the thing that they are going, like, they are making an active joke about some of these these sort of cult-like groups where it's like, yeah, do this'll be healthy, it's healthy to lose weight at this rate, but if you have had eating issues and you might not want to hear humour that in some places centres around eating issues, I can understand this being a skip.
All the content warnings.
Yeah, so just food-based eating issues stuff, if that being a point of humour in this context is an issue, don't listen to this episode. They do sort of decompress some of that in the following episode. But I really enjoyed it. I found it quite a good counterpoint to their normal investigation stuff. What about you? What have you listened to?
Wow, that's a new King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard album. I'm
King
so
Gizzard-
glad I got that out in one go.
King Gizzard the Lizard Wizard.
King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard called Fishing for Fishies. Yeah, it's some good psychedelic folk music. psychedelic rock, psychedelic folk rock.
That sounds about
Something-
right,
yeah.
yeah.
It sounds a lot like T-Rex, and I was a big fan of T-Rex as a kid. You know, in that kind of like your parents listen to some music, and most of it's not really your style, but
Yeah.
there'll be like maybe one band. For me, I think that was always T-Rex. So yeah, I quite like that sort of glam rock-esque sound. Like, yeah, I'm very glad that I think this is something like their 14th album.
Oh, gosh.
Since 2012. I think was it last year they released 5 albums in the year.
Wow.
They are a busy bunch, and I like the music they make. I don't know what any of their lyrics are, so hopefully nothing too problematic in there.
Yeah.
But I gave it a listen to. I liked it very much. Boogie Sam, I think, is the second track on there I particularly liked. That is very, very, very T-Rex. Yeah, it was good. I hope to hear more King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard. I hear they might have another album coming out this year. So, and there are theories buzzing around that because their album Nonagon Infinity loops forever. So if you listen to it like on repeat, it will it's very difficult to tell exactly where the beginning and end is. So there are theories going around that because this one doesn't loop to the beginning of itself, they think it might loop in straight into the next album.
Oh, so it's a 2-album loop, perhaps.
2, 3, who knows? It's King Gizzard and Lizard Wizard. They do like the output is incredible. And the sound is really nice. I didn't think people made that kind of music anymore.
Oh.
But it's nice. What have you got?
Not a lot else. I listened to a lot of Pokemon soundtrack and Breath of the Wild soundtrack because
Cool.
video gamey week.
Mm-hmm.
What about you?
I listened to some Mammoth Weed Wizard Bastard.
Oh, yes. So, should we mention a thing that we watched?
Let's explain why.
Yeah, we probably should have mentioned this and watched. We watched I enjoy a YouTube channel called Drawfee, where they will come up with silly concepts and then draw the thing while they have a conversation. Mm-hmm. And we watched a Drawfee video together.
Yes, because I upload the Quoops video.
Yes,
and while uploading it, I encountered sort of in your suggested recommended things was, hey, was it Silent Hill metal bands?
Yeah, metal bands as Silent Hill monsters.
That was it.
So we watched this video of people finding band names from various genres of metal and trying to turn them into Silent Hill monsters. Yes. And the first one was Mammoth Weed Wizard Bastard.
Yep.
The Mammoth they tried to draw the Mammoth Weed Wizard Bastard, which we heard described as like psychedelic metal.
It's psychedelic sludge metal, experimental. It's like psychedelic metal.
It's slightly psychedelic stoner metal.
Yeah, that'll do.
Yeah. How?
Did you know they're from the UK?
No, but now that I know that, I want to go see them play.
I think they might be Welsh because I tried to put the album title that I listened to today through Google Translate, and they were like, "We're detecting Welsh." And I noticed that like all of their track titles seem to be confusing to read. And at first I was like, is that Icelandic or something like that?
We watched a bit of them doing like a live show at a festival or something.
Yes.
Did you go and listen to recorded
I went and listened to a whole album today, yes. I went and listened to, please excuse my Welsh pronunciation, Un Oll I Anwyn, which I believe means return to Anwyn.
Aha! Do you want to give a spelling of that?
YN space OL space I space ANNWN.
Yeah. How was their album?
It was. Yeah, I enjoyed it.
Did it feel?
I don't know what the lyrics are.
Did it feel slightly more focused than their live festival performance?
It's still sort of stoner metal. It's very sort of stoner metle.
It's not in a rush. Way. It's not in a rush to go anywhere.
It's not in a rush to go anywhere. It's not super angry.
Yeah.
It's like nice to hear those sounds in a not angry way.
Yeah,
because I like electric guitars.
Since we saw that festival video, I've been like, I wasn't feeling that festival video in that moment, but I keep going. I want to listen to more of them though.
Yeah, I think that is their latest album, like this year's album. So
yeah.
and it's up in its entirety on YouTube. But if you like, support the artist.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's a thing if you want to listen to some sort of slow, chill metal with lyrics I don't know yet. I was in a situation where I couldn't actually sit and listen.
I had a look there. I'm on Spotify.
Oh, Spotify. There you go. You're sorted.
Yeah. Oh, is that album?
That's it.
Yeah. Heck, I'm gonna download some of that album so I can listen to it at some point soon.
There you go. It's on the Spotify.
Yeah.
Spotify upon you, I say.
Did you listen to anything else?
No, I think that's everything I listened to. What about you?
Ooh.
Oh, no, I did listen to one other thing.
Oh, what was your other thing?
Dames and Dragons. I've caught up with Dames and Dragons. I've listened to 4 months worth of Court of Swords. I'm pretty much up to date now. Woo! It's still very good. It's still femme and non-binary people, as was very specifically updated this episode, or one of the most recent episodes. They originally flagged themselves as an entirely femme cast. They don't do that anymore. So it was nice to get that update. And apparently they've gone back and put a disclaimer on episode 1 as well. Explain that. So it's nice that people will update pronouns and stuff.
Well done, them.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's good D&D, and there's still a boob window. There's still a character with a boob window, which is vitally important. What about you?
That's it for me.
That's it for you. Well then, time for this.
Dragon?
Yes.
Well, have you considered what we should be doing about the human issue?
Oh, yes. Well, see, I've been studying my reports, and these humans are getting better and better at space travel, and I think it's a problem we need to stamp down on now.
Yes, we largely thought they'd sort of given up on the whole thing. It's just been pros for decades now.
Well, indeed, now they're, getting all their well, the whole problem is that their capitalism, which is the whole thing we want to keep on Earth, and, they're using that to come back to space.
It absolutely shouldn't be allowed. I'm completely disgusted by the whole thing.
Indeed. As the humans themselves have noted, space is the only place free from capitalism. Space! We're free from capitalism, and we like it that way.
Yes, indeed. So, what are we going to do to stop them, do you think?
Well, I'm quietly hoping this whole global warming thing will solve the whole problem for us.
Yes, and there's also rising nuclear tensions. We've been thinking that that's what was going to sort them out for a while.
No, indeed.
I just hope that it doesn't hurt the bunnies or the cats.
Oh, I know. I'm hoping that one of the two of them will be the next sapient species on the planet.
Well, we've already had contact from the cats, so it's possible they'll be in charge next.
Oh, indeed. I'm just hoping that whatever it is that knocks them out is something that only affects the humans. Something like, I don't know, they all fight each other over the money or something.
That seems like the most likely thing at the moment.
Indeed. And for now, worst case scenario, I think we just quarantine the whole universe. We put a big bubble around it. It's going to take them long enough to get past Pluto that they probably won't realise.
Some kind of invisible force barrier just around the outside of the solar system. And keep them in there.
Make it loop around itself so they get to the outside of the universe and just pop in the other side.
Ah, yes, and perhaps they can assume that wherever you are in the universe is infinitely expanding from itself, so you're always at some sort of galactic central point.
Oh, no. What kind of species would be silly enough to believe that?
Hello.
Hello, welcome. How can I help you today?
I'm looking for a very special cake for a party I'm throwing. I'm looking for something that's really stunning. That's the very fact that it's a cake is going to really blow people away.
Right,
have you got anything you can do to help?
That's definitely our speciality here. Please take a seat.
Okay. This is a very comfortable, soft seat.
It is indeed. Would you like a fork for that?
What?
You said you wanted a cake that it would surprise people to find out was a cake.
Share a cake.
Yes, you're sitting on a very special.
May I try
please,
this?
Yeah, please try some of the cake.
This is delicious, and it supported my weight.
Oh yes, it will continue to do so.
Oh my
and right
goodness.
up until the point you've eaten most of it.
Oh goodness. What other cakes do you have?
Well, I mean, you could finish off that fork.
I just used this to eat cake and I didn't bite through it, but now I'm trying to bite through it. It's soft as butter.
Absolutely, it's the very special chocolate coating they put on there.
My intent changed my ability to eat this fork.
Indeed.
Huh.
Napkin?
Yes. Okay. It's very successfully wiping my mouth.
Yes, but try a napkin.
This is a paper napkin, though. It's
though?
folding and creasing.
Is it though? Vanilla cream. Mm.
How do you make it so soft and creamy yet crumple?
It's a trade secret. I'm a very, very good baker.
Yeah, no, you are.
So you're interested in getting one of these cakes, perhaps?
Yes, and all of these have absolutely blown my mind. Any one of them would be an amazing centerpiece.
Okay, so which would you like to go for, do you think? I mean, look around, anything you fancy as possibly something particular for your gathering or celebration? What kind of celebration is that?
It's a party for a lot of the people I met at university, so maybe a snooker table or something?
So yes, we have a snooker table over here in the back room. I mean, try each of the balls. They're each a different flavour.
Oh goodness, and they roll into the pockets so well.
Yes, and they make that perfect clack noise.
And not so much as a dent when I hit them with the cake pool cue.
Indeed, try the pull cue.
Oh my goodness, it's delicious.
Finding that we have a complete scale replica of the University of East Anglia, which is also available. You can see right into each of the rooms.
I'm in there.
Yes, you are. And so are all your friends.
This is getting a little unsettling.
So is that the sort of cake you'd be interested in?
Yes, sure.
Okay, so well, if you could just come over to the counter, that'll be we can have one ready for you by next week. That'll be okay.
Okay.
Okay, and that'll be about £500, including delivery.
I can't say no to that at that price.
Okay, if you could just put your pin in and your card in.
Okay.
Okay, and I'll just look away while you put your pin in.
Okay, boop. There you go.
Yeah, okay, I can see that's authorised. There we go. And there's your card and your receipt.
Thank you.
There we go. And would you like some of the card reader machine?
Okay.
It's very good, isn't it?
Yes.
Yes, it's
very good.
It's a carrot cake, in fact. But also quite capable of connecting to your bank to take the funds. You may or may not want to eat the receipt. I quite understand either way. Gosh, all this selling's really done me. I think I might just have some of the counter. It's toffee. You like them?
Sure. Oh.
The door's brownie.
Not very security conscious.
Nobody else knows that. And all of the glass is entirely edible. This whole shop, in fact, entirely edible. My whole livelihood entirely edible. This arm! Try some of my arm.
No! I'm scared!
Devil's food cake. I wove this prosthetic out of the finest devil's food cake. Like you wouldn't believe. I am the greatest baker to ever live!
Hey, it's time for a new segment this week.
Oh god! Oh heck!
I ain't got one of them fancy jingles like what you do for the bit we do at this point in the show.
Story time! It's time for story.
It's not a story. It's a different segment.
There you go.
Are you ready for the new segment? Sawbones or vegan Facebook group? So a little bit of background on this. I'm a member of a couple of Facebook groups on the internet. One of them is for a podcast called Sawbones. I've talked about it before. It's a medical history and medical advice podcast where basically... no, it's specifically not advice. It's medical history. I should correct myself there. A lot of debunking...
Clint would be very upset.
Yes, a lot of debunking nonsense medical history stuff and going into the history of medicine. And a lot of what they do is debunking stuff that's like, that's bullshit nonsense. Let's talk about why. So that's one I'm in. And I'm also in a couple of vegan Facebook groups.
For new vegans.
Yeah, for new vegans that are, getting there and looking for advice and support and things. And in the politest way possible, without mentioning which group specifically I'm in, but I think this is probably a running theme you'll see in a lot of groups like this. Some things that are pseudoscientific will get shared in them very sincerely. It's not all about not consuming animal byproducts or hurting animals. Sometimes it's which fruit or vegetable looks like a part of the body and therefore will fix that part of the body because they look the same.
You can't see the look, but I'm giving it the...
Oh,
the look
yeah,
of...
no. We'll get there.
I didn't realise that was a thing.
We'll get there. You're going to have to guess whether that was in Sawbones or vegan in a vegan beginners group because, it's fun. So, let's start with our first post from Sawbones or Vegan Beginner.
Dun, dun, dun.
Okay, so, which Facebook group do you think this is from? This is a manual for using Young Living essential oils. How to treat abuse and suicidal thoughts with essential oils. Would you like some examples of what essential oils you can use to treat various things?
CBD, maybe?
Spousal abuse. Apply SARA, forgiveness, trauma life, release, valor, joy, and vision hope.
The fuck did you...
Feelings of revenge.
Frankly, unless you're going to jam it in their eyes, followed by a stick.
Feelings of revenge. Apply 1 to 2 drops of surrender on the sternum over the heart. 2 to 3 drops of present time on the rhythmus, and 2 to 3 drops of forgiveness over the navel.
Holy crap on a stick.
I won't read any more.
Wow.
But, yeah, no. Somehow you're supposed to get essential oils for specific feelings and then drop them in points on the body to heal other feelings.
And those points on the body aren't you just rub it in the person's eyes who has wronged you.
No. So,
shove it down their urethra.
Sawbones or beginner vegan?
Vegan newbies.
No, that's in Sawbones. That is a debunking.
Okay, tell me about the thing.
Thankfully. So yeah, no, this is a legitimate thing that they sell manuals for this. Young Living is a company that makes essential oils.
Right, okay, yeah.
Their essential oils are for things like, here is a forgiveness oil. This is a thing people buy. Like,
I bet they really charge over the odds for it as well.
Oh, I'm sure they would.
How much is some forgiveness oil?
Right, so, next up. Let me find, which one do I want to go to next?
How much is forgiveness oil?
Are you looking up the price of forgiveness oil? Forgiveness essential oil.
Forgiveness essential oil. The fact that it was... Oh, for fuck's sake.
Tell me about a forgiveness oil.
Frankincense is high in...
Sequesterpenes.
Thank you. And will help uplift spirits and promotes relaxation. Sandalwood helps overcome stress and is calming, emotionally balancing. Holy crap.
Yeah, these are the oils that will help you...
The frequency for forgiveness oil is 192 megahertz, which is considered extremely high for an essential oil blend. To give it a comparison, the human brain is 72 to 90 megahertz, and the body is 62 to 68 megahertz. Essential oils range from 52 to 320 megahertz, with the spiritual oils being over 90 megahertz. Rose has the highest at 320 megahertz. Anything over the frequency of the human brain is considered extremely high. What the ballsing fuck?
Okay.
How much is this ridiculous juice?
I'm sure it's too much.
It's toxic to cats. Yay!
Oh, goodness.
Young Living, right? Was it the Young Living one?
Yeah, Young Living.
Young Living.
Are you trying to find a price on these essential oils?
I am trying to find a price on them. I have a feeling this is going to be like a price on request thing.
Yeah, the fact that you can't find a price probably... Oh, try adding some to cart.
I'm going to. I had to go, oh, fucking hell! 67.34 will get you a 5ml bottle of forgiveness.
Oh, goodness.
Mate,
Oh, goodness.
that will get me a lot of something else that will make me think about forgiving things.
Okay, ready for the next one.
I'm still flabbergasted by the last one, but go ahead.
Okay, next we have anti-aging colour chart. Beets detoxifiers to prevent our complexion from dulling.
Alright, it's not just a colour chart that's supposed to make you younger.
Blueberries, antioxidants neutralize damaging free radicals. Avocado oil strengthens skin while hydrating it.
We'll buy you a new house.
Vitamin C produces collagen to fight wrinkles.
Ooh.
Sweet potato beta-carotene turns into vitamin A for smooth skin. And lycopene in tomatoes protects skin from sun damage. Is this vegan beginners or sawbones? I feel like I've got to, back and forth a little bit.
Vegan newbies.
That was indeed vegan
Yes!
newbies. Well done, you got one right. I don't know what the colours were important there. So I'm going to do the one that I teased you on earlier.
Ooh.
Foods that resemble body parts that they're good for.
Ooh.
There's a chart with images, and I can't show you it because you'll see what group it's from. Carrots are good for eyes. Walnuts
How
are...
do they look like an eye?
do you want me to show you? Carrots look like eyes, because if you slice
Oh,
one,
right,
it's
okay,
sort of a circle
I
with a
see where
circle
I
in.
see where you're going with that, but no. But...
Walnuts are good for brains.
Right.
Grapes are good for lungs because the bundles of alveoli are kind of like bundles of grapes. Tomatoes are good for hearts. Ginger's good for your stomach. Figs are good for your scrotum. Citrus for
I
your...
think it's a bit late for my scrotum, I assure you.
Citrus is good for breasts. Sweet potatoes for the pancreas. Kidney beans, can you guess what they're good for?
Prostate.
It's the kidney.
Oh, okay.
Bones, celery... Okay, so most of these they did the food first, and then the thing it heals.
Right.
Except for celery and bones, they did... Actually, the whole last... Okay, 2 of them they did the other way round. They implied that eating bones is good for your celery.
Ah!
And eating...
I've been very concerned about my celery, actually.
and eating hearing is good for your mushroom.
I think somebody took the mushrooms and then fucked up that entire list.
And then back to the other way around. Eating avocado is good for your uterus.
Well, good. I will eat more avocado and buy less houses.
So is this
because I'd like a uterus, please,
Is this in
thank you.
sawbones or vegan beginners?
You said you were going to switch them back and forth, so I'm going, based on deduction, sawbones.
No, it's vegan beginners.
Damn you!
Let's see if I can find at least one more. Okay. Let's go for this one.
Okay.
Nose piercings can control the respiratory
I've
problems,
got one of those.
fits, hearing problems, and blood pressure.
Fits!
Yeah, you can.
Well, I have to say I haven't had a fit since I got
Well,
my
you-
septum.
Yeah,
septums.
how's your blood pressure been since then? Because
My
apparently
blood
it
pressure.
fixes
I
blood
haven't
pressure.
checked it. I really should.
Yeah, well, apparently you don't need to because your nose piercing will fix it.
There you go. Got my septum done. Sorted.
This is a breath regulise to eliminate the poison that comes out while breathing carbon. The nose piercing on the top left nostril is linked with the female reproductive organs.
Ooh.
Females are likely to have fewer pains during the deliver time and at the menstrual time.
During the deliver time. What about males and non-binary people?
We'll get there.
Okay.
Actually, we won't get there.
Oh, okay.
So during they'll
What a
have
shock.
fewer pains during the deliver time and during the menstrual time.
There you go. So if you're expecting like a delivery and, they said it was going to be there by 10, but it wasn't.
Yeah. Additionally, do you want to know why it helps with menstrual stuff and the delivery time? The vein are pressed through the piercing. That's why it helps.
Oh.
The gynecological problems can be cured.
So it's simply a case of pressure points, is it?
That's the best I can tell.
Right.
It's pressure points in your nose fix gynecological problems.
Well.
Is this vegan beginners or sawbones?
I mean, ultimately, this is just 50-50. I think it's celery for fixing the sore bones. Oh no, it was the other way around. Vegan newbies.
You're right, it's in vegan.
Yay!
Yeah, but should we really be cheering that it's in vegan newbies? Vegan newbies is sharing the fact that
The full
a
fake
nose
news, I think you'll
piercing
find.
pressure point will fix your
Delivery
gynecological
time.
problem. Your delivery time.
Expect it in 36 days.
Oh goodness. I might have one more potentially.
Happens to Betsy.
I know, but these groups are just a wonderful. This is what my Facebook timeline has become, is trying to work these out. Okay, let's go for this one last.
And now it's my problem.
Headache remedy.
Okay.
Eat 10 to 12 almonds, the equivalent of 2 aspirins for a migraine headache.
Are they related to the willow tree at all?
Nope.
Do they have any science behind this?
Not that I'm aware of.
There's no justification whatsoever.
None that I'm aware of.
Right, okay, I'm looking this up.
What, you're not going to guess first?
No, oh my god. Almonds for dogs, almonds for weight loss, almonds for breakfast. Thanks, Google. Heartburn, headache, health. Well, according to past research, magnesium found in almonds may protect your body from the brunt of a headache by relaxing blood vessels. Migraine sufferers may also experience relief by following a diet rich in magnesium. Some experts believe. Some experts.
Also, can I just say the first image that has come up is the one that I saw in the Facebook group.
Ah, okay. I am going to go with vegan newbies because it feels like...
I've got you double guessing now.
Sawbones. Final answer. Sawbones.
You're correct. It's
Yay!
Sawbones. Now, I did do a bit of further research on this. So if you Google almonds and headaches, the first thing that comes up is an image on Google Images, which was that one that shows up there with a woman holding her forehead and a jar of almonds being poured out on the desk. And if you look in the bottom right-hand corner for
rawforbeauty.com.
Rawforbeauty.com is this seems to be like this seems to be the number one source for like where this claim comes from. It's definitely the first. Well, let me get there. Let me get there. Don't confuse me with weird images. So yeah, that as far as I can tell, this is where the claim originated from. If you try and go to rawforbeauty.com, do you want to know what you see?
Unprotected sex.
It redirects like 100 times before this totally not suspicious, not secure. It's a non-secure
I definitely want to
webpage.
click install on that thing.
Yeah, VPN update. Your browser may not be able to display the webpage. Please download the recommended free Norton Wi-Fi privacy VPN app from the Apple Store. It'll take 10 seconds.
10 seconds to completely fuck your computer up.
Yeah.
Hooray.
So, don't go to rawforbeauty. Here's a list of how many times it redirected to try and get through to that page.
Wow, that is a lot of...
Yeah.
So Raw for Beauty is a scam?
Yeah, as best I can tell, this claim may well originate from a website that is a scam that is basically trying to get people to click on a fake website.
Because I've seen Raw for Beauty pop up a few times. But
yeah, they don't exist. At least, not anymore. So yeah, that was Sawbones or Vegan Beginners. Come back next time to have your faith in humanity once again slightly shaken.
It's too late. I think that I've reached the maximum amount of shaking.
Oh no.
I am shooketh. So, time for this. Do you want to know what I want to see more of?
What do you want to see more of?
Show Justice Warriors! Hello, Larry.
Hello, Barry. How you doing?
Oh, not too bad, mate, are you?
Oh, I'm alright. I'm I'm a bit on a sleepy end, but I'm doing alright today.
Oh, mate. Yeah, so, you been up to much?
Oh, I've been travelling a bit, but not much. Yeah, been on me whole sort, seeing me son out. How about you?
Well, I've been, I recently had some time off, so I had a bit of a, just a bit of wander around the local area.
Oh, yeah, how'd that go for you?
Well, I'm noticing a frightening increase in the number of homeless people.
Oh, yeah.
It's very concerning, the way the state of the country, that there are so many people who are being forced out on the streets.
Indeed, and to be clear, the problem here is it's not frightening, seeing the homeless people.
No,
it's
not
frightening
always.
that the ecosystem, is pushing so many people out onto the streets. It's not an issue of we're scared that, they're around us.
Oh no, I'm not scared of homeless people. I'm scared of the Tories who are producing.
Exactly.
That
Yeah, it's a real shame. Yeah.
I mean, it's absolutely appalling. The failure of universal credit and all sorts of things like that. The way the DWP have been treating people, full stop, and the rising use of food banks.
Yeah.
But one thing I do notice that, like, apart from the fact that it's well known that homeless people generally spend a lot of time being ignored,
Yeah.
but when they're not, they very much seem to be being largely judged by people.
Oh gosh, yeah.
Like,
I've many a time. Yeah, I've given money to a homeless person, and I've had more than once. I've had people come up to me afterwards and go, "Oh, you really shouldn't have given that to them. Who knows what they're going to spend it on?" It's this real judgmental attitude of judging how people. People who were in the worst position possible, how they spend what tiny minuscule money they have.
Indeed, I've been homeless myself. I've not gone to begging, but no judgment on anyone who does. I think that takes an awful lot of courage to put yourself in a situation where you are trying to do that, and frankly, to deal with the being ignored, the way homeless people are treated by people. There is a huge amount of abuse. The way that, obviously you're having to look after yourself in that situation. And then just to be constantly judged by people who assume that, you're of some kind of low moral fibre because you've ended up on the street, perhaps through entirely no fault of your own. And they'll judge people for, wanting to have a drink or something, or maybe buying some sort of drug to try and deaden the noise of distress of what they're experiencing.
I've seen homeless people with pets who've been criticised for, well, if you didn't have that pet, you'd have more food for yourself, and that's people who are living with zero companionship. Being told, like, no, give up the one companion that is sticking with you.
Don't worry, we're all going to ignore you, but no pet for you.
Yeah, I've been homeless for a while as well, and I did beg for a while because it was how I was surviving, and it's if you get to a point where you are doing that, it's incredibly demoralising. That you feel like not only are you not self-sufficient, but that it feels like you're never going to be able to get out of that situation, and it's some of the most despair you can end up feeling sometimes. Is being in a position where it's like, you're cold, you're hungry, you fear for your safety, you fear that the police are going to get involved, you fear what passers-by on the street might do. There's so many things that your life revolves around surviving in a miserable situation, and look, having been there, I don't begrudge anyone who tries to find something that will give them just a little bit of mental respite and a little bit of getting away from their situation, because it's a pretty fucking miserable situation sometimes.
I can understand, perhaps, from an outsider's view, that you might think that you should be doing everything constantly without stopping to try and get yourself out of that situation. But as somebody who's not only been homeless before, but just generally poor, sometimes having a little bit of something to look forward to, something to take the monotony of the everyday off. You just need that little bit of rest, because you can't go on holiday, you can't escape from any of these things.
You can't sit and watch your favourite TV show or listen to some music that you enjoy,
Exactly. If someone wants to drink a fucking strongbow in the street, I'm not going to stop them.
Yeah, exactly. Like, here's the thing. Like, it's easy to say you should be working on getting yourself off the street. It's easier said than done. Like, going to job interviews is difficult when you
don't have an address.
You don't have an address. Like a lot of jobs you simply cannot get if you don't have an address.
A lot of places to stay you can't get if you haven't got an address.
Yeah, exactly. Getting somewhere that you can clean your clothes, that you can have a wash, that you can make yourself sort of presentable for an interview.
That will allow you in there.
Yeah, exactly. Like, these are all things that are really difficult. And, when you're in that position of, I'm trying to get my life on track, but it feels like just constant roadblocks in the way, sometimes you do just need some. But maybe it's a burger from a fast food place that is more expensive than getting a bunch of bread and sandwich fillings from the supermarket.
But where are you supposed to keep the leftovers from the bit you don't immediately eat?
There's that as well. But equally, so what if you occasionally treat yourself to a bit of food that's slightly nicer than the bare minimum? You need things to look forward to.
Yeah, definitely.
You need things to keep you going.
Keep your moral.
Things to live for.
To keep your morale up rather than, than just existing. Because at that point it becomes very easy to want to stop existing.
Yeah. I can very much vouch for that.
Yeah, same. I think people just generally need to stop judging people for how they are coping.
Yeah.
With a bad situation.
Exactly. Have some empathy and some sympathy. Help out where you can, and be a little less worried about what if they use it badly, and be a little more like, well, look, if I was in that position, I would want anything would help.
I would rather give a couple of quid to someone who was out there scamming, and that's another thing that you get people talking about a lot. They're scammers, they're not really homeless. I would rather chance my couple of quid going to someone in that situation than have someone go hungry or be in more trouble than they need or thirsty.
Exactly. I would rather believe in the goodness of people and try and help people in need than live my life never helping a soul, because what if I accidentally help someone who didn't strictly need it?
Exactly. Should we have that hug, mate?
Yeah, let's have that hug.
Yeah. This is what we need in the world, mate.
Yeah.
More cuddles and compassion.
Yeah.
Good hug. Good hug, mate. Good hug. Shall I pop the kettle on?
Yeah, have that cup of tea.
Nice.
Laura!
Yes?
Where can we find you on the internet, darling? Laura K. Buzz pretty much everywhere. Laura K. Buzz on Twitter, Twitch and YouTube. You can find me Monday to Friday, 9 to 5 at kotaku.co.uk, where I will have a bunch of coverage up on... what went up this week? Team Sonic Racing, a bunch of Pokemon coverage, 3D printed Labo coverage. Those things happened. I may or may not have coverage of other things that I don't know when the embargo is on yet. We'll find out. I'm on Dice Funk. It's a Dungeons & Dragons podcast. I've got some books coming out soon. Things I Learned from Mario's Butt comes out on July 18th, which is 6 weeks away. That's too soon.
Hell.
I'm not ready for this. My heart, it is not ready.
I will protect your heart.
And...
I might just be touching your boob.
Things I Learned from Mario's Butt. We finished making the art and the words. It's just being put together into a book now, so that'll be soon. What about you? Where are you on the internet?
I am Maniac Janiac on Twitter and YouTube. I am Janiac on Twitch, where I stream on Tuesdays and Thursdays most weeks. I can also be found on Patreon as Stoned Monkey Radio. On Facebook.com there is a / Stoned Monkey Radio. There is a Facebook fan group page. There's a Discord. If you want a link to the Discord, hit me up on Twitter and I will send you an invite. StoneMonkeyRadio.blog, where I do writings of things when I have time to actually sit down and play games. I will do those things. Yeah, so I think that's pretty much everything. So Laura,
Yeah?
sing us out, darling.
Until next time, be a stranger.